Hey guys, Nick here, and today we will be seeing how the threat with Alpha will go after the Pike scene, and if Beta still being alive, even though we have no idea where he is, will mean that the group's eventual plan to kill Alpha will fail. This is part 9 to What If Negan Killed Maggie, the remake. Now, if you guys don't remember the Pike scene from the last episode, it entailed some small characters for the most part, but the main ones were Eric and Olivia. So, even though there is upset people and everything else, and upset emotions with the Pike scene, Tara and Aaron are the main two that are affected by it because, people that they loved. But other than that, nothing really too major. Now, like my other remake, the whole Hilltop and Kingdom going there and everything else will not happen because the Kingdom and all the other communities are basically in perfect shape. There's really nothing that happened to them. The Savior's threat was very undermining here because of what went down. And because Negan has been redeemed so much earlier, it doesn't matter that he didn't save Judith out in the snow and everything else, because he's been redeemed far earlier. So even if this were to happen, it wouldn't matter because he's already proved his worth. Back at the Hilltop, Eugene is doing the whole radio thing like he does, and that goes as you would expect. Then we hit Season 10 territory, because we're already at that standpoint. And we get to the whole training day thing, which plays out as you would expect, except some characters that are there have different things that happen to them. There's a lot more characters that survived. But honestly, aside from that, it goes as you would expect. I feel that even if there were characters that survived and people with different backgrounds, that it would go the same way. Then we get to the whole satellite and the fire thing. That goes the same way. Then we get to a change. Alpha is all alone whenever she walks out because there's no Carol, no Morgan. There's no instance, I feel, that someone would be out there at the same time as Alpha. So, small change kinda, but still worth pointing out. And also, like before, since Beta is presumably dead, because I'm going to keep saying it, he is coming back. Since Beta is presumably dead, Alpha promotes Gamma to the new Beta, like before. Because that's how it would work. And this would only be further proven that this is the case whenever Mary's sister tries to kill Alpha. So if she wasn't Beta before, by some weird instance, then she would definitely be pronounced Beta here. And also, since Beta is not around, Alpha would mourn Lydia not returning because, she didn't kill her herself. And no one would find out Alpha's lie. So, there's that. And she also really she not only misses Lydia, but also Beta because she really cared about him and everything else. So, she mourns both of them alone. Except she knows that Lydia's alive and doesn't know that Beta's alive. Ezekiel's cancer is eventually found out by the group, and that goes as you would expect. Back at Alexandria, Alpha begins sending swarms of walkers to attack, but the waves are dealt with much easier here because of the communities being in much better shape, first off, and second off, with there being so many more people alive. So that threat is dealt with much easier. And since Michonne is actually around here, and this part of the story would not really be changed, we get the scene with Aaron and Michonne at the bridge. Except Aaron is much nicer here, even though Eric's dead, because he, one, hasn't lost his arm, and is just hasn't had the character development that his original has. It's happening way later. And he does still get paired with Negan, but since Negan's been redeemed far earlier, and as I just said with Aaron, he's not going to hate Negan here. He's not going to hate being paired up with him. Sure, he's not the fondest of the idea, but he goes with it because he knows how much Negan has redeemed himself over the years and everything. Because it happened 2-3 seasons early. So, yeah. Now, remember how I said in previous episodes that even though Aaron did not lose his arm in Season 9, that he was going to eventually? Well, that's about to pan out here. During the fight with the walkers, like originally, Aaron still does get blind and then get bit. So, 2 negatives. He gets bit right on the arm. And Negan says that the only choice is to cut off the arm and amputate it. Otherwise, he's gonna die. So, Negan gladly does the job because, Aaron's blind and never seen anybody amputate their own arms before. So he does the job, and for consistency's sake, and just for the sake of the show, I'm going to say that Aaron still gets the metal arm, but as for the spike part, I'll leave that to you guys whether that happens, because it's not really the hugest deal. It's just a small thing, but yeah. Now, with the whole Alpha situation, Carl, Enid, Glenn, Sasha, Carol, Tara, Negan, Aaron, Benjamin, and Richard eventually all start to agree with each other that a plan must be made to kill Alpha, and they even begin talking amongst themselves. First, the talks are small, and then all of them come together. Eventually, it brings more people, Spencer being one of them, and since Rosita's along with them, she follows suit, and then Daryl, slowly realizing that his plan could work, and then Carol, Morgan, and Ezekiel. And eventually, we have a whole crowd of people just planning to do something about Alpha, because this has gone too far. Rick, eventually, with hearing about how the talk is going, and realizing that everybody's right, agrees that a plan must be made to stop Alpha. This is basically the Negan situation whenever Rick was finally forced to fight Negan, except it's with Alpha here, so little change there. Eventually, Gamma, the new Beta, arrives and says that Alpha wishes to meet them at the border for a talk. And Rick is definitely ready for this, because he now knows the perfect way to kill Alpha and to end this once and for all. And especially since the second-in-command Beta isn't around, this gives them an even better chance. And the plan will go as such. While Rick, Michonne, Carl, Daryl, Morgan, Rosita, Negan, Sasha, and Aaron all go to talk to Alpha, because they're going to do this the way that Alpha wants for now, to make her think that she's actually in control and everything. They'll listen to whatever she has to say, but just whenever she thinks she's getting her way, Glenn, Carol, Tara, Enid, Ezekiel, Spencer, Benjamin, and Richard will all come out, seemingly out of nowhere, fire their guns at Alpha and any Whisperers there are, kill them on the spot, and then that will leave every other Whisperer completely leaderless and able to be stopped. So, seemingly good plan. And this sparks Rick to make the same speech that he did at the beginning of the original Season 8, about starting tomorrow right now, and that they've already won. So, the plan seemingly is set. The stage is set for meeting Alpha at the border, like my What If Rick Spared Shane remake, but with so many other characters surviving, with so many characters having different backgrounds, and with Beta still being out there, how will this spark into the plan this time? Do you think that the plan will work, Or do you think Beta is out there somewhere, leading other Whisperer survivors and leading a path towards revenge? And that's where we leave things for the moment. Definitely a little bit of a cliffhanger, especially since I've yet to reveal Beta. But, spoiler alert, he will be revealed next part. So I hope you guys are genuinely excited for the next part, because this series, like I said, is coming to a close pretty soon. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.